Hello, everyone, and welcome to an exciting episode of Pomegranate Uncut, where we sit down with some of the most inspiring creative professionals from around the world. Today's guest is someone whose work you've definitely seen on the big screen. Even if you didn't realize it at the time, she's a master storyteller, a true artist of the edit, with credits to some of the most intense, visually stunning action films of the recent years. From John Wick to Bullet Train, Deadpool 2, and honestly, one of my personal favorites, Shang Chi. Her editing style has shaped some of the Hollywood's most iconic action figures, blending rhythm, emotion, and precision like very few can. She's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, including Keanu Reeves, Brad Pitt, Charlize Theron, Ryan Reynolds, and many more. And she's continued to raise the bar for what action editing can be. Joining us today is the absolute pleasure to welcome Elisabet Ronaldsdottir to the Pomegranate podcast. Elisabet, thank you so much for being here today.
I'm absolutely honored that you invited me. Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here.
The honor is fully ours. We'll start by asking you a quick questions. Can you take us back to the moment you fell in love with film editing?
That is a very, very long time ago. But in the beginning, I wanted to be a cinema photographer. That was my passion. But when you get a family, it's hard to control your own time when you're on set. And that's why I stepped back into the editing room. And it was the best decision of my life. But it took me some time. I think it was like a year into editing when it just dawned on me how I could control this, how I could manipulate and change and make it perfect. Like perfect, nothing's perfect, but while my life was a mess, it was such a good way to escape as well. And yeah, and control the material you had.
Awesome. How would you describe your editing style in 3 words?
Whew,
I know that's a tough one, but if
that
you had
is
to
a
pick
tough
three.
one because it's usually for someone else to tell me. But I I wanna believe that it's precise, rhythmic, and notably, rhythmic doesn't necessarily mean fast, but rhythmic in the sense that I go between. The movie is rhythmic because the rhythm changes the whole time. It's kind of like music. It's like being a conductor and honest. This
Oh,
is what
that's
I aim for and just hope one day I'll manage to stand proud behind it.
you've done so much so far. Honestly, I would be very proud if I was in your place. This looks really good
Oh,
work
I'm
you've done out
super,
there.
super proud. I mean, proud by saying it out loud
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
it's a bit weird. It is really for others to dissect and find out my style. For
Yeah.
me, it's a lot just emotion, you know.
We are very curious to find out, like, if you were not an editor, what other career path would have you gone down with?
I have no clue. I might have ended up drunk in a bar, might be a psychologist, or yeah, I have no clue.
So you were always set on this path.
No, that is not true. I wasn't, but I never had like until I found this, I started dreaming of a path, of a work path. I didn't have it until I found filmmaking. So I wasn't like I if I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, my answer was happy. I didn't have like I want to be a doctor. Maybe at my age we all wanted to be ABBA, but that's it. I can't sing, so I would never have been a rock star.
All right, cool. Um, I think Anas had a question. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask about, most of your works have been with action movies. Right? How does it differ going from this one movie to another? Do you have a particular mindset going into each movie, or have you tried any other different genres as well?
Oh yeah, I come from a very European background, and that's all drama. So I really didn't start editing action movies. I think John Wick was my first real action movie.
And
So I've done everything. But I I remember I had a meeting with Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, and we were both like, you don't need me. They know everything about action, but they wanted me to come in to help with the story. Of course, I also turned out to be a pretty good, action editor, but that was a surprise for them, I think. They were looking for someone to concentrate on shaping the story.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was
I
like,
do have a question regarding the editing part of it. Could you just give us a brief, idea of how the whole process works for an editor like yourself? How does it work from the starting to the end? Like
Whoa, it
the
really changes. It has different periods. It's like seasons. So in the beginning, I'm setting up shop, going just reading, getting familiarity with the script, introducing myself to different crew, talking shop with my longtime first assistant editor. And don't get fooled by his name. He's not my assistant. He just runs the ship because I've, when we did film, it was easier, really, because the film had to be sent somewhere. It came back, we got a copy, you got it into your machine, rolled it around, it was just easier. Now, with the technology, there are so many elements, technical, that have to come together. Uh, we have to make sure that the pipelines are set between different departments. So it's a lot of work. And then, just like the tedious part, like making sure everyone gets dailies. Because like when we did film, we would all gather and watch the film in the theater. Now everyone is just watching dailies on their phones or their tablets or computers. So we don't really get together for it. So it's a lot of technical, and he just runs the place. So we have talks, mainly he telling me what's happening and me being chill about it,
all
knowing
right.
take care of it. So, and then principal in on the so we start a week before principal photography. Um, and so we start a week before principal photography, and then photography starts. And we just keep getting material. For example, now I chose not to be on set. So I just needed a break. I haven't been home for a long time. So the production accepted that I would edit from home during those 3, 4 months. So yeah, so I'm working remotely, which is basically I log into the computer I have now in Vancouver and work through it. So we have to set all of it up, make sure it works, and then the dailies start coming in. And it's just about patience, really. Because yes, it's a lot of material shooting one movie like this. It's a lot of material. I
Yeah,
do.
it seems stressful, very stressful work.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure if someone that wasn't familiar with it, but I've kind of grown into it. And I have to say, working with documentaries, because I've done a lot of documentaries, helps you really eat that elephant dailies are, because you kind of get used to and learn how to deal with massive amount of material. And
Right.
obviously with Matt Upshur, we and two other assistants that we have, we log everything, we bin it, we make a coherent, outline to.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's what we are doing now, prepping for the dailies, and then you just edit the dailies and you edit and edit and until you have like an assembly, and that's my Achilles heel. It's making the assembly because that's just everything's in the assembly. And to be
Right.
truthful, sometimes I make the assembly afterwards because
Oh,
you get caught up in the moment. So it's like, oh, we shouldn't do this like that. We should do it like that. So it's just so exciting to play with the material as it comes. And that's usually when you get the best ideas and, you
So
know,
now, honestly, if we're like if we're talking about materials like that, I'm very curious for a movie like let's say John Wick, which is nothing but action, back to back to back. It's just continuous action. How did that, how did that work for you? What was that experience like?
it was, I was never intimidated with it. I wasn't because I was just so excited. I thought my career in Hollywood had ended when they offered me two stuntmen wanting to make a movie, and I thought, that's it, I'm done. And then I got so inspired when first I met Chad, and just his passion for filmmaking is so contagious. So I was
Right,
just already, and like in the first meeting, he just showed me everything. I hadn't signed anything, and he showed me all the everything they had prepped for the movie,
right.
storyboards and stuff like that, costumes and etc. that they were working on. And I mean, and I felt in such a good hands. Then I meet David and his passion for story and making movies and action, everything. It, I just was so excited to work on that movie. I really was. It was the first movie. I was probably the most experienced filmmaker on that
Right.
crew. And I was just like so blown away by just the energy. So no, it wasn't intimidating. It was really fun, but it was harsh. It was harsh in the sense that not everyone agreed. So there was sometimes there were arguments, and I like to call it discussions, but it
So did you have any direct arguments with Keanu Reeves by any chance?
no, but he was very close to the editing process in the sense that he visited us in the editing all the time. Just
Okay,
passing character, trying to shape John Wick. Look,
so was
I
John
had
Wick
to like
basically was keeping an eye
remember.
on you guys all the time?
Yes, he was. But
Directly.
I really appreciated his passion as well for making this movie. And it was just so much fun talking the character with him. I also had this theory about John Wick because I'm from Iceland and it feels like an Icelandic saga. Someone does you something and you go and kill 20 people. That's basically our story. So I felt very much at home.
So Iceland has those sort of Jack, vibes as well over there.
Oh yeah,
All right.
there are, well, they didn't look as nice, no suits, but yeah, the Vikings could be very, and
Ah, right. Yeah,
and
the
the
Vikings.
women, I'm telling you, Icelandic women in the sagas, they can be pretty nasty. They're
damn.
not
Okay.
as nice as we look.
All right. Iceland is a place I've never been to yet, but I definitely would want to go there. But I think I
Oh
have to be
yeah.
a little careful when I go there.
Yeah, be
Yeah, it seems like
careful.
a beautiful place though, from the
It is,
pictures.
every country has its charm and beauty, right? And we have
Of
ours.
course. Yeah. Have you ever
Yeah.
had the chance to come to the Middle East?
I've been to Yemen, I've been to Syria, Egypt.
Okay. So you've never actually been to the GCC side of it,
No,
the Dubai and Bahrain
no,
and whatnot.
no, I haven't. But I traveled alone, which people thought was crazy, and it's just the best memories of my life.
Oh, I'm sure. Those countries have a lot of history and they're very beautiful in their own way.
So beautiful, but also they are just so welcoming. So yeah, it
Yes,
was
of
fun.
course. Yeah. Ramon, you were saying something?
Oh yeah, no, I was curious about so like let's say I am like a very beginner when it comes to editing. Like I don't know the ABCs. I just, do whatever. But like it kind
Oh
of
yeah,
makes
here,
it
by the
easy
way,
for
sorry.
me.
He's the one who makes our videos for
Yeah, I
Pomegranate. So
was
he's
so
our
blown
editor.
away. I was just,
Oh, you liked
that's
it?
cool. Ah, that's cool. That's what I thought.
Oh my God, it means so much coming from you. I
I
was
was like, oh
nervous.
my
I'm like,
God,
I'm
it's gonna
editing
be
for an
horrible.
editor.
Yeah, he got afraid. He didn't realize it until now when I mentioned it to him. But last night I was like, you are editing videos for editors right now, right? Professional editors. And that's when it hit him. He was like, oh yeah, what?
Yeah, I was
So he
like,
got nervous from
yeah.
that.
But this is so important. Don't think about it. I
Hmm.
like that. Just don't think about it. Just do what comes to you. And it's good not to know or not think about who it's for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just enjoying it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just enjoy it because that's what editing is such an emotional journey. It really is. And I don't think people are always aware of it. That editing something just takes you on just the characters, shaping the characters, making the story work. You have to be able just to go into it and not be thinking about the actors or the director or anyone
Mm.
because you need to then show it to the director. He might have or she might have endless notes, but you have to be very open to what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Fear does not belong in creative work. I don't
I
think
highly agree with that.
yeah.
Yep.
so.
Fear holds people back, to be honest. A lot of creatives, I think, get held back because of fear.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do. But it's also it's also my responsibility with my crew that's often younger than me in post to make sure they're not scared. They can't be scared of me. I need them to do the best work possible. You know what I mean? So
So speaking of you, actually, like that, since you mentioned that, what are you like with your team when you're working? Are you the tough one in the room? Are you the nice one? What's your role there?
I think I can be very, very harsh, but I try to be harsh in a nice way.
In a nice way. Nice.
I
In a
can be
nice way.
harsh, but situations can get very, very stressful. And if someone is making too many mistakes or doing something wrong, there are times you can be gentle about it and try to lead them and teach them. And then there are times where you're just like, I can't do this, but
Like
no,
you're,
not an excuse. Now I feel bad. I
Ah,
everyone I've ever been harsh.
I think it's the
I will not be
Icelandic
nice.
the
feeling.
Icelandic side, yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Icelandic
that
side
pops
coming
yeah.
out.
out in certain
Biting it
areas.
out. Yeah.
What's one of in your opinion, what's the most favorite movie of yours? What have you worked on that you love the most?
Oh, so this is so weird because you know what they say that they say a success has many fathers. But I just make sure all my movies I work on have a mother, That's just, I don't care if they do well or badly. Of course, we're really happy when they do well, but that's never the aim. The aim is always just to make a good, solid movie. And
Mm.
sometimes our movies, especially with 87 North with David Leitch, some of them haven't been doing really well, but they live for a long
Yeah,
time. So it also tells us something is wrong with our system, only allowing movies to survive the weekend.
right.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones, like honestly, one of my favorite movies is Shang Chi.
Yeah.
Personally, I love that one the most. It was extremely well put. The editing work, all claps, hats off to you guys. It
No,
was
honestly, it was
amazing. It was
amazing. Yeah.
excellent. What was that like for you working for Shang-Chi? Because I
Uh,
bet that requires a lot of, CGI work and
yes, Shang-Chi was so different in many ways. I worked with Nat Centers. We were two editors. We arrived in Sydney, Australia in January 2020, and we all know the rest. So we got stuck in Australia, in Sydney, for a year. We were only supposed to be there for just over 3 months for principal photography and then post.
Wow,
But we
one
got
year.
stuck there for a year because it was a nice place to get stuck in, except I had family everywhere else.
Fair
Mm-hmm.
enough.
Well, my son arrived there a day before they closed. He got stuck he was traveling to South Africa and he's taking the cheapest flights and got stuck in Addis Ababa. So I got him a ticket, like the last flight into Sydney, Australia. It's
Okay.
but we were there and we worked and it was fun, but then they had to stop principal photography because of COVID. That lasted a couple of months. Then we started shooting again, and it was extremely strict. You know, you couldn't bring in all the extras you needed, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Visual effects became a bigger deal as well because of it. They had to save us a lot of problems they had to.
Well, for editors, how hard was it during COVID times?
Like I say, it wasn't that hard because we were in Sydney, Australia. That was, even though the country was completely closed and you had to get a permit to fly out and you couldn't fly in. They closed it for 2 years. They just closed Australia.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's the weirdest scene. I leave in December. I think it was like 16th. I was going to go home for Christmas. And the driver drives me to the airport, and there is nothing at the airport. There are no, usually there are buses and trucks and car and traffic, nothing. And he just leaves me outside, and I go in, and it's completely empty. There are no people.
Wow.
And I flew to Singapore from Australia, from Sydney, and it was a jet. And I think we were two passengers. It's so crazy. It's so bonkers.
Wow.
So,
So how does it work? Like one of my favorite parts, obviously, is the ending of Shang-Chi, which was,
yeah.
their the dragon part and everything. How does this work? Like, what is the process for to produce a dragon like this, and these guys on top of the dragon?
It's a lot of green screen, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think enough time has passed. But we didn't have a third act when we started principal photography. So COVID kind of saved us because we were with visual effects while principal photography was down. We were just working on that third act, how to
Okay.
get the third act to work because it just hadn't been written. So that was that was actually so much fun, an amazing journey for all of us, I think. Actually, it's a lot of green screen and imagination. You have to be able to also time things
Yeah.
relatively, etc. So yeah, but you get them in steps because first they do like previs where it's just roughly timed in, so doesn't have any late, it's just black and white,
Mhm.
previs. So you kind of know what's happening, and then we built on it more and more and more.
Is it improvised at times, or is it like everything is pre-planned?
Uh, Well, we planned everything for the third act, those COVID months where principal photography was down. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything has to be planned for multiple reasons, also because it's super expensive to do visual effects.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to be very plan and have a good frame around it. Like you have to know where you're going.
Yeah, of course. And is it optional for you as an editor to be on set to see what's going on, or is it?
Yeah, when we're working on set, absolutely. Like we were working The editorial was in the building beside the studios the stages used to film Shang-Chi. So it was easy to walk over, and we did. Sometimes we were called over. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna just say that I would imagine if you would be working from home, it would be, more relaxed, but you don't get to have that same experience. You don't get to see those tiny little details that you would probably, get to see when you're in person, talking with others as well.
Yeah, there are pros and cons because you don't want to get precious about anything. That's not your job. Your job as an editor is actually not being precious about any of it. You can easily cut out a pan that cost the production a lot of money and took hours to get right because you're not connected to it in any way.
Mm.
So the
Yeah.
con is it's just sad. I love being around people and stuff, but I also love being home, and I'm so happy to love to do it. I
Yeah,
love-
Anna's here as a IT person himself, so he works from home and prefers working from home himself.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah,
Yeah.
but being around people, I think it changes a lot as well. Just learning from other, bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
So much just comes up that you wouldn't even
Yeah,
think of.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. I
And
was
I would
curious.
not choose this forever. I'm just doing it for 3 months. Relax. I'll be back.
I was curious. Has there in your career path, have you ever looked up to another editor? Is there someone that you always look up to their work?
Yes. I have a mentor. I call her my mentor. We're very good friends. It's Dodi Dern, who, for example, edited Memento.
Oh,
Ooh.
Memento, yeah.
I mean, just look at her page. She has editing everything and everything. She's like the queen of editing, I guess.
She is currently your mentor. So do you go to her for any
Well, I
tips?
don't. I think we're more like friends, but she has been amazing and supportive and made sure I was well received in LA. So yeah, I have a lot to thank her for.
I want to take like just because you mentioned like LA there, how you got in. I just wanted to know how exactly did you get in the first place?
It was bonkers. So it's actually I edited a movie called Reykjavík Rotterdam,
Okay,
directed by Óskar Jónasson, and it was remade in the States. So it was remade as Contraband. And
Contraband. Okay,
yeah. And I was asked to edit that movie because the actor in the movie Reykjavík Rotterdam is now directing it in the States as Contraband.
okay.
And he's I've been working for him for a long time, Baltasar Kormákur. So we are long time collaborators when this happens. And he invites me to come and cut Contraband. So it was filmed in New Orleans, and we were there for a while, and then we actually cut it in Iceland and then in LA. We went back and forth.
And that was your entrance to the LA world of filming?
It was my entrance in the LA world in the sense that a woman I was in contact with, her son was actually a PA with us.
Okay,
He introduced me to his mother, who was head of foreign distribution at Universal.
okay.
And she knew Dodi Dern, and she connected us. We went for dinner and we fell in love with each other. So Dodi Dern contacts her agents and asks them to pick me up, which they ended up doing. And that's how I got John Wick.
All
Oh,
right.
that's really cool.
It's always a whole lot of work and luck. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Luck follows.
Oh yeah. You hope so, yeah.
Anas, I think, had some questions regarding all the technical and the behind the scenes related stuff for this one.
Try me.
Yeah, no, I think you did answer some of that earlier as well, but like just going from the film to actual, editing softwares and
Yeah.
all technological based stuff. How was that like? What was your learning curve like with that?
I just dove in head first. And to tell you, I kind of was never scared of it. I did understand from the beginning I couldn't ruin anything except like deleting everything on the drive, but I couldn't ruin anything.
Well,
Has
yeah,
that ever
with
happened,
film,
by the
yeah.
way? Have you lost everything on a drive before?
No, not as
Okay. Okay, thank God.
So yeah,
but
with the film, you could ruin it with the film, but like,
no, but we know it can happen. So everyone is super, super oh, you mean on film?
yes,
Yeah,
Yeah, like do you guys have backups of
the
stuff
clan
and
and it's done. Yeah, you can absolutely, sorry, yes, you can absolutely ruin the film.
has this ever happened to someone?
Yes, there are many stories of cans being dropped, opened, gone through security at the airport, etc. Many horror stories. It
wow.
hasn't happened to
Oh,
me personally, but I know stories.
Has that happened to anyone very big in the industry before? Or a movie that still managed to come out somehow? Very
I am
curious.
sure I don't know the stories, but I would not be surprised.
All right.
But
And
because it's so, thankfully, it's easy to make mistakes. It only makes us human, right?
yes,
of course.
everybody makes
Yeah,
mistakes.
exactly. It's what makes us different from computers, and I'm happy with that. I'd rather make mistakes than be like a computer.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Speaking of computers, so how do you feel about artificial intelligence? Like some people are preferring, honestly, I don't like it, uh, taking over certain creative jobs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna change a lot, but I'm not. Yes, and it maybe at some point it will take over, but not in my time. I'm okay. But yeah, I do think it can be a great tool. It can be an amazing tool, and I know some people are using it. And even if no one loses their job, let's just say we have a movie and we are screening it for the studio. The thing is, we can't get any ADR in. Usually we can't get, sometimes we can get one or two actors in to do their additional recordings, ADR. It's additional dialogue recording. They might be on a boat in the middle of the ocean, or so it's just too much noise for us to hear anything, or we add lines that need to be said. So what we do, we get sound alikes in. People that sound kind of like the
Similar
actor
to
in
the
the
actor.
movie.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Interesting.
that's one way I've heard people use it is then they take the voice-alike performances and through AI that they have taught the real voice. And I think that's so amazing.
I
I
think
mean, it
it's
is an
just a matter
incredible
of
tool.
not abusing the systems. I
No,
was,
because
yeah,
everyone keeps their job, everything's fine. I know for a fact that visual effects have been using it partly, only partly, for certain things. And that's fine, I think. But I'm not sure. I'm not that into visual effects to know exactly how or why they're using it.
Oh, and so
definitely.
what kind of softwares or tools do you guys use on a daily basis?
For AI?
No, 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 for yourself. Like, because
Oh my
AI
God.
is doing its own thing. Like, for
Yeah,
your
yeah.
editing,
Don't use
situ
AI at all. We don't. None.
no,
But it's
yeah.
also always a studio policy. The studios are very strict about no AI policy.
Is it due to I'm assuming copyright
It's
stuff.
because of union and copyrights and union rules, etc.
All right.
I work on Avid, and my favorite tool, God forbid if I remember it, it's called Key. What is it? A key something. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's in the Avid. It's a key where you can outline something and key it out. I use it a lot because of digital. We can now work a lot within the frame.
Right.
So I use this key so that I can, for example, put two takes together. Maybe one of the actors is better in this take and the other is better in this take, and then I can just split it. Sometimes I have to trace it, but you know.
And like with these apps and different softwares and whatnot, how many scenes do you work with altogether? Like how many
A
videos
movie,
are we, how many clips are we talking on average?
probably 60 to 120, maybe. I don't know. Why are you asking me these questions? I have no clue. I think if I start thinking too much about it, I will just get depressed. But it's a lot.
It is actually.
I
Yeah,
mean, every
I can
scene is
imagine.
usually 1 to 3 minutes, you know? And if you have 120 minutes movie,
That's 120 minutes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's okay.
um,
Yeah,
Um,
how special, like everyone has their own signature way of putting in their movies, in their work. What is your signature point in your work?
mean like a fingerprint, my fingerprint.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
or
I
your
think,
watermark.
yeah, I think it's just my credit in the beginning. I really do. Because
Yeah.
um, again, it's for someone else to say. Because I'm just, again, just in the emotion of editing a movie. I want certain things, like I said before, I want it to be precise. That's like something I aim for. I know myself we don't always succeed with it, but that's what I aim for, being precise. So, but that has to be like a general acceptance, and I don't think it's yet. We need some scholars on it.
I think that
Right.
would be something for us to look at. We'll like watch your work and kind of figure out what's something that stands out that we see in your movies every time. I think that
Yeah.
will be something that we'll probably check it out.
Yeah, maybe. But I do like to go into scenes. You know how the structure is. You have like a wide shot, a medium shot, close up. And that's kind of the structure. But I like beginning on the close up and then maybe opening up. Like if you want something, if there is like an important information, for example, just start on the close up. This is the information. Open up, I like playing with all that stuff. Yeah.
So you never keep anything consistent. You always like to try new ideas.
Because every movie
Every movie is
calls for
different. Yeah,
different ideas.
exactly.
And I hope the day I start just repeating what I'm doing is probably the day I should go and check on that psychology test. I can get
Yeah.
a plan B.
Your
No, but
plan B, yeah.
that's actually a really good thing, to switch things up a little bit. I kind of noticed that like with Shang Chi, I forgot the name of the leader. What was his
Oh,
name again?
Destin Daniel, the director?
No, sorry, the actor,
Oh, the actor.
The father in the movie?
the father in the movie, where both the mom and dad they meet in that magical village, and then
Oh
that scene
yeah,
was
that
some. I did not
magical
expect that.
that
Like
that village was
it
amazing.
was cool. It was romantic. It was a lot of things going on in one scene, and I don't know, it's very different from like Nobody, John Wick, and even Shang-Chi's the fighting sequence.
Yeah. And I
Like
actually worked on that scene. And the thing was, I shortened it.
Oh, it
Oh,
was much longer.
But I cannot do assembly. Like I always do it backwards. So I shortened it. What I didn't realize on a Marvel movie, everyone has access to your cut. There was no mercy. And suddenly I'm called to set, and everyone is furious because I shortened the scene. But guess what scene came out?
The shortened one. They ended up maybe rewatching it and say, "Oh, she did a good job here. We got to take this one."
yeah, honestly, it
That's
was beautiful,
amazing.
beautiful scene.
Yeah, it is a beautiful scene. But the thing is, you never want to go into repetition.
Yes.
Unless it has some kind of of course, I never say never. There might be an instance where repetition is needed. You know, you
Yeah,
need to do the repetition. But generally, I don't like repetitions. And especially in very loaded emotional moments, if you start repeating it, it loses its intensity and its flavor, right?
right.
Hmm.
So,
Is there
All right.
something that helps you like during your editing process? Like for me, I start with the music and then I just listen to it, look at the scenes, and it gives me that kind of vibe for the scene. Like how does it go for you with your like your pre-editing ritual?
pre-editing visual, I think it's more chaotic than people realize. Um, it's a bit like me having ADHD. I don't have it, but like editing is like, wow. But I I think I'm just sometimes I get caught up in little things. It's like a look or so I kind of collect them like little gems, small things within every scene and all the takes. We go through all the takes, like systematically seeing is there any gold anywhere? And then I just start building on it, like and I wish I had like a knowledge of what I'm doing, but I think what I'm doing is I never read the script after I start editing. I read it a couple of times before because I don't want to get caught up in the script. I
Hmm.
want to work on what I have, what's, what the director with his whole crew has made, and that's what I'm working with. You know what I mean? So I
I
don't
guess.
want
Yeah.
to get if the direct, I think it's very important to understand that the edit is only a translation of the script. It's a completely different language. So even if you start with the ending and have the beginning in the middle and whatever you do, it doesn't make the script bad. It just means you have to change the language because of the language the movie is. It's like if I was, what's your language? Is it Arab?
Arabic, yeah.
Arabic.
So if we were translating, can you imagine from Arabic to Icelandic? There were so many
A
sentences
lot of differences, yeah.
that would move around because we have a different way to build it. And that's the same between a script and the movie. It's just two very different
Mm,
languages. So,
interesting.
and that's what I'm trying to find when I go, probably now I'm trying to be clever and as if I'm very smart about it. But I think that's what I'm doing when I'm going through the dailies. I'm trying to translate, find how best to translate the script.
All right.
That's a very
But
interesting
like
one.
looking back at this, like which film was the most challenging to edit for you, and which one was the most fun?
Ooh, I think they were all fun and all super challenging. I'm sorry. You
Okay.
always, sometimes I take like small movies and think, oh, I'm gonna take a break. It's a small movie. I'll do it with one hand, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just like sweat and tears because every movie has its own unique problems. And I maybe it's even wrong to call it problems. It just has its unique way of taking up your time.
So, but there always has to be at least one. The
One
one where
movie.
you remember
I
it
think
forever,
they
you
had
keep it.
like, do you know what kerns are? It's like in Iceland we have kerns, loads of them. When we didn't have streets and Google Map and all that, people built those kerns to follow them so they wouldn't get lost, you know.
Right.
So it's just like a pile of stones. And that's how I look at some of my movies. They're like kerns in my path. So John Wick, for example, is one of them because it was a movie that kind of opened up where I am now.
Of course, it was an amazing,
Yeah,
amazing work put together. So I'm
thank you.
sure.
I was very, very proud of it. And but then we have Atomic Blonde. That was such a passion project, and I could have gone and done John Wick too, but I have this small rule that has
Okay.
worked very well for me. It's always follow the woman. Always follow the woman. So I went for Charlize Theron instead of Keanu, and I think however I adore Keanu, it was a good call. And yeah, so I love Kate. I'm super proud of Kate. I got it. They were halfway through their post, I think, when it was sent to me because they couldn't get it to work.
Okay.
Action was a bit not working either, and it was a bit frustrating for everyone. And they sent it to me, and I absolutely fell in love with that movie and the director's vision on it. Um,
So
so
you basically came in and saved them. Would you say that? Perfect.
Nice.
So they were already working. Was it like someone else, I'm assuming, was already working on it? They couldn't
yes,
put it together, and then they
yeah,
said, Elizabeth, please come and save us.
yeah.
And you were the
Basically, how it.
superhero of the day.
I do think doctoring is the most fulfilling job you do because basically everything you do is amazing.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So
So
I do want to ask you that you've worked with films with like Keanu Reeves, Charlize Theron, and other big names.
yeah.
Like, what are your most memorable behind the scene moments you could share with us?
Memorable behind the scene. I think there are memorable moments with all of them. But I always remember it because in Atomic Blonde, Charlize smokes a lot and she has this lighter. And obviously it's all tricks and someone fills the lighter and she takes the lighter up and lights it and it was like a flamethrower.
Oh,
Wow, that's
Fire
Wow.
up.
that's
And she just
Wow.
crazy.
closed it
that's scary.
and put it away and kept on with the scene. It was hilarious.
What does
I was
Keanu do? Because like on screen he's full of action. What does he do? Like I've heard he's very calm and quiet behind the scenes.
very calm and quiet, yeah.
So
But
he
he,
hasn't done anything funny yet behind the
no,
scenes.
yeah, they're funny. But I mean, he's just a super, how can I word this? He is, I really am so happy I worked with him because he's also very giving
Yes.
of ideas, giving of just talking. And that's kind of precious for someone who's actually starting out in Hollywood. So that was kind of cool.
Awesome. So would you say that like John Wick, or let me ask you in another way, has there been a scene or a sequence you've been the most proud of in your career? Any
Hmm.
one specific one?
Um, it's so hard for me because I live the movies. Like I am editing them for usually it's usually a year we're with the movie. just finishing it. It's the principal photography, it's through the whole editing process, it's visual effects, it's DI, and it's sound mix. And all the testings. We usually test movies at least 2 times, sometimes just once, but sometimes twice with audience. So all of this takes usually around a year. It really does.
Okay.
And well, yes.
Yeah, but
So every
which
movie,
one?
I just live it. I'm completely focused on it for almost a year. And then it's premiered, and you have to let it go. That's
Right.
what you do. You just let it go because there's another movie, and you have to give that movie all your focus. And you don't want to make that movie the other movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to bring out its uniqueness and work with it completely, sometimes in a different way. So,
Of course.
and then you let it go, and it's the next one, and you let it go. So all I can say that at every time, the only thing I'm obsessed about is the movie I'm working on, you know.
So that's actually that really interesting what you just mentioned. For example, like we have Roman here, right? We were just talking about some of his edits because just how you just mentioned that you let it go and you move on to the next and come up with new creative ideas.
Yeah.
How do you do that and how would you recommend editors like, just these newbies of ours like
Hey,
Roman,
I hear.
how
Go
how
for it.
how do we get him, for example, to move on? How do you get him to,
Oh, you mean he's still thinking about that edit he
Yeah,
did?
sometimes I'll
yeah,
take it
so
down and
so
I'm like,
sometimes,
I kind
yeah,
of
so
missed doing this or whatever.
yeah,
I think only time can help there, because don't think I could also get if I did something wrong, that's when I was obsessed about it. Because I've done so many mistakes. And I think that's fine because you
what's
just
one
keep
mistake
learning.
actually? Could you give us an example?
Uh, for example, in the first John Wick, we sped up the fight he has with the with the with the assassin girl
Ah,
woman.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
Sped it up, and we had very problematic visual effects on that movie because you cannot speed anything up in the AV. It has to be worked through with visual effects to get it right.
Okay.
And it turned out all the money for visual effects was done. So it was never, and I was sweating in the cinema. I was just like, oh my God, I ruined the movie. And I can promise you, I spent years banging my head in a wall because of that mistake. But it
but
doesn't matter today, does it? No one cares.
Honestly,
no, I mean, looking
not
back at it,
noticeable.
not noticeable a lot. I mean, yes, you as a professional, you might see it and understand it, be like, oh, I did that wrong. But
Yeah.
to us as the viewers, that was,
That was really cool.
beautiful movie,
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfectly
that's
put
the
together.
same with you. It's the same with you. That's what you're thinking about. I probably didn't see it, and you're banging your head into a wall over it. I think only time can give you the nonchalance. I know I make mistakes. I make mistakes on every movie. And maybe they're not even mistakes. It's just we have a delivery day. If we kept going, I could have figured that out at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Not even really mistakes sometimes. It's just we didn't have the time to explore it. But after you deliver the movie, you keep exploring it in your head and end up deeming it a mistake, but it wasn't.
Because
It is
some of
so
these,
harsh to towards ourselves, but
yeah,
also very human. So
yeah, of course, of course. But like, do these mistakes kind of give you a new idea? Like, say you made a mistake and you're like, that's actually pretty cool, and then you roll with that.
yeah, that has happened as well.
Going back to, how your editing, how do you know when a scene is truly finished?
You don't. That's what I'm saying. You just have an end date. because every single scene and every movie can be done in so many ways. You know what I mean? You
So you're
can
always open to like, what if I can change this? What if I
you
can
are
change that?
doing it into the last days of the mix. You are changing things. Drives my sound team mad, but crazy about it. But we have the best sound team. We've been working with Mark Stokinger for a long, long time, and JT in the mix. It's a good crew.
I think in that many creative departments can relate as well, where you never know once something is finished. You would always go back and start tweaking it. Even if it's out, you would keep on going back and changing it because you can never satisfy yourself with those things. There's
No,
always something new out there.
yeah. The only way for you to know if a scene or if a movie is done without an end date, if you start going in circles, then you
Yeah.
know you have
I
to stop.
mean,
But,
yeah, especially with the new trends that are coming out, like people have different styles of editing, shooting videos.
yeah.
Do you like follow those, or is it something? I mean, obviously, no end to learning, but like, is it something like do you like to hop on the trend train, or
Yeah, are there like certain trends that you guys do follow as editors?
Trends. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, we do learn from each other a lot of tricks. But the trends, I think trends happen more in the camera than in editing, actually. It's such
Yeah.
a a set art form, but the craziness might happen in the camera or in visual effects. I mean, yes, there was a trend when you would start with the ending every single movie, you know. That was a trend.
Right.
But I don't think you would use it unless it's helping the movie. You know what I mean?
We're
Okay.
going back to a scene, going back to the point of being stuck in that loop. Has there ever been a scene where you got stuck in that loop?
Yes, it has happened once that I got
Once.
completely stuck. But I don't usually get stuck. I don't because if I'm in a scene and like I don't know what I'm doing, I just go out. I go see another movie. I go see a paint art gallery or whatever. I just do something else because
clearing
you
your
have
mind?
to go and just shake it off and then you come back to it and it's usually fine.
So
Definitely
what
very
movies
helpful.
do you watch that influence you for these sort of things?
Oh, it's so much. For example, Yorgos, I am not going to be able to say his last name, but he is Yorgos's editor. They're both named Yorgos, the director, the Greek director, and his editor. I enjoy his editing so much. It's so fresh. Oh, yeah.
Any certain movies of theirs that you could mention?
Oh, what is it called? Sorry, I'm just give me a minute. I'm going to Google because I can't remember anything.
No worries, take your time.
Yeah. He did. I can't even remember how to write his name.
It's
I should
Yorgos
probably. Yes,
Lanthimos.
yes, but it's
Yes.
his editor. What are the movies? Because I.
He's done Poor Things,
Oh,
Dogtooth. Poor
but
Things. Poor Things was a 2023 movie.
yeah, but what's the movie before
Uh,
the
Bleat,
sorry?
Bleat, favorite, The Killing of Sacred Deer,
Yeah, but there is a movie before. No, it's favorite. Yeah, sorry. It's amazing.
favorite.
Yeah, it's so good. I was so just excited when I got out of the cinema. I love when that happens. And you just go,
So, what do you usually, when you watch these movies, do you watch them just to get out of a certain zone, or do you specifically go in to get ideas, or have you gotten any
no, I just
ideas?
go. into enjoy a movie.
Fair
That's
enough.
what you can do. I wanna enjoy a movie, and I loved enjoying movies in the cinema. And but yeah, it happens that sometimes you get just like once you the favorite. I just got so happy. I was so happy when I walked out of the cinema. But it's also really good if you want to learn something. It's good to look at badly edited movies.
So like when you're watching a movie, is it like okay, I'm here to watch a nice movie and the movie's good. Do you like out of nowhere see or imagine your editing software in front of the screen and you go
No,
like, oh no, this should be like this.
no, I don't. But I dream about editing. But I have to admit, Avid has never, or any software has entered my dreams. You might have cursed it. Now I'm going to be dreaming
You're just gonna wake up
for it.
imagining
Yeah.
software is playing around in your
No,
head.
it has not happened to me yet.
Well, I think we had this. Remember, Roman, we were talking about this, like movies like Fall Guy,
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
it's dedicated towards like directors.
a
Has
stuntman.
there
No, stuntman.
stuntmen? Sorry.
Yeah.
But like, have you? Is there? I don't know if there's a movie dedicated towards editors.
Oh, there are two editors.
Yes.
That would be such a boring movie.
Not
Would you
really,
think
actually, if you
so?
think about it.
Learn that said, watching editing is like watching paint dry.
I feel like because like when you mentioned earlier, th there's so much impact coming to how the movie, the production of the movie, the end result of the movie is directed from the editors as well. Like shortening that scene when you were talking about that, no one would have done that, but once you actually put it out there, everyone agreed with it. So there's so much impact coming from the editing side as well. I feel like
Yeah,
it needs more
exactly.
credit.
It's like a
Good and bad.
tornado of
Yeah.
emotions, that goes into editing, and I doubt it's gonna be a boring movie. I mean, it's gonna be so much going on in it, like inside your head, like what's going on, the drama. It's like one of those. It's like this show that came out on Apple TV Studio, the Studio. I don't know if you know about this, or Birdman, something like that. Like there's just so much
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe I get for like an editor's
Yeah.
only movie.
Isn't it Birdman? That was one take, and the editors got
One shot.
Oscar for it.
Oh, that's
That's
amazing.
how much of a shot it was. It's
Like
like the
really one
stairwell
shot.
fight in Atomic Blonde. It's like a one shot from her entering the building until they go into the canal. I don't remember. It's like one take.
That's
And it's
insane.
So,
like 300 cuts or something. I don't know.
yeah, that was gonna be my follow-up questions. How many cuts would they make to one entire scene?
I'm exaggerating. I think it was just inside the house, if I remember it correctly, were like 36 cuts. If I remember it correctly, I can be sued.
36 cuts.
Yeah, but that was just inside. Outside, it was different because it was very much visual effect helped with those a lot. It was a lot of green screen and
All right,
so
so
Yeah.
seems to click.
coming back to something you were mentioning about, how certain movies you work on and like how do you handle feedback?
Better every day, learning. But it's important. I mean, I would get scared working on something and not get notes because notes are what push you, to do better and do it differently. And so I embrace them. It's harder the more notes you get, especially after you are happy yourself. It's hard to get notes. But it's also very important to look at the note behind the note. But you have to embrace them.
Yeah.
Never ever fight a note.
Yeah, no matter how harsh it may be, you have to accept it and you know.
Yeah, but it's also just the technique of it. If someone says we need to cut that thing out, if you start fighting it, they'll never forget it.
Right.
Push for it to happen because they're not going to lose that fight. If you just say, that's a great idea, we'll look into it, and you don't ever take it out, they might not remember it.
Yeah, I actually apply that in my everyday life sometimes. I'm in the
Right?
marketing field, so that works. Yes.
I'm gonna
You just
use that.
say, yeah, for sure.
But
And
I
then you
mean, you
just
have to be
never mention
still
it.
very clever about it and like,
Yeah, yeah.
but you also have to do notes. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah. No,
So,
that's good.
who was the most fun actor you would say you'd have fun working with so far?
I mean, it's been so many, and you mean editing or just meeting? Or
Just meeting, let's say.
I think it was Charlize. Yeah.
Charlie's.
Yeah. I think I, yeah, I do think I had the best. Well, it's kind of a battle. I don't want to put Keanu down. It was such an amazing work period with him. So I love.
I
No,
am very curious, like,
And the same
like, you
with
know,
Ryan, who was super sweet on this, like Ryan Gosling, so super sweet. Uh, the other Ryan,
Ryan Reynolds.
thank you.
How do you like? How was Ryan Reynolds backstage?
So, I mean, he was amazing. And there's this whole story that most people know that he literally saved my life. Like, I got so sick on on Deadpool 2. And my producer, my director, they were amazing support, and they and Ryan pitched together and flew me privately to a hospital in LA, and it saved my life without them.
wow,
So
that's very nice.
I have nothing but good to say about him, and he's always been super, super sweet. And he is a great person to work with. He's super collaborative and fun to work with. But nothing, I have to say, nothing compares to working with my 87 North gang. Uh,
Ah, the
Kelly
87 North
Mc,
Gig.
yeah, Kelly McCormick and David Leitch, yeah. And not only them, it's Jonathan Sela on the cinematographer, David Schuneman, who is who is no, I can't even remember what he is, but he designs the sets. Set
Ah,
designer.
set designers.
That's
Yes,
Took me a
yes.
while. I'm slow. Yeah.
Well, just what advice would you be giving to the young people coming into this, people from, watching these videos, watching your work? What would you have to say to them?
Well, I wish them well. It's a hard business right now because it is in a bit of a transition, which is not bad. It's probably going to give more jobs in the end, so all good. But it is transitioning. I don't know. I'm getting tired, so my English might fade away. Um, but I do really believe that being brave, open with your ideas is extremely important. And I always point out, I'm not the best editor in the world. I'm not, but I'm me. I'm only me. I'm the only me. You know what I mean? And
okay.
that's what you have to aim for, to be only you, to
Yeah,
stand out in any way you can. Like find what makes you you in the end. And if
exactly.
I think that's excellent
Awesome.
advice.
you are
Yeah,
going to measure up to the best, it's just you can't. It's too.
Of course, if you're trying to trying to be similar to someone else, you're just compressing down your own talent. Exactly, exactly. Excellent advice, honestly.
So
yeah.
even here, honestly, like we are currently located in a tiny, tiny little island called the Kingdom of Bahrain in the Middle East, right next to Saudi Arabia and Dubai. We like for someone listening or watching us from here, like who dream of breaking into Hollywood, what should they focus on? Or what advice would you want to give to them?
Oh, I mean, again, you have to work hard, and no matter how small the project is, do your best because that's what moves you along. You can't just go, oh, that's a boring project. I've done my diligence, you know. I've done all the small projects. I've gone, you know, but you have to put your heart into it and do your best because it's always going to be your calling card, how small, ever small it is. Uh, and then just be ready if you get the opportunity to grab it. That can be a scary thing, know that. Grabbing an opportunity can be very, very scary. But it's so just get mentally prepared to grab that opportunity when it presents itself.
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen or you've had a glimpse of what we're doing for the creatives and how Pomegranate's been doing so far. We've been growing a lot. It's a small page, but so far people have been liking it, and especially like, very important people like yourself have given us a very nice feedback so far. So what do you think about it, and what advice could you give us to level up?
Well, I think it's with editing, like everything in the life, you just have to do everything super well. Because I remember your question you sent me was something about does the count matter? And it
Yeah.
does. And then it doesn't. Because the only thing that matters is the quality of the work you put out there. That's the big thing. So be selective and do your stuff well, and the count will start ticking, you know what I mean? So that matters more than the count. The count
Or
will fall.
I think that would be very similar to saying something like a project that you might have worked on and you really thought that it was amazing. Like you're really proud of that work, but it did not get received really well by the crowd. That would be something very similar to that,
Yeah, happens all the time.
of course. Yeah.
Success is a slow cook. Success, it's gonna take a long time. People often don't realize when I cut John Wick, I was 50 years old. That's a slow cook, my friend. That is,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So
nice.
not very many people realize it's just a granny editing. They really,
50 is still a young age in my
Yeah,
eyes.
you still
yeah.
seem quite young. You don't seem 50s.
Oh, I'm 60 today, so embrace
Oh,
it.
you do not seem 60 at all. I was assuming you're somewhere, in your 30s.
I'll take it.
All right. So,
Yeah.
quick rapid fire, and then we can call it a day from there. I'm sure you're very tired yourself.
Okay.
All right. So, favorite film of all time?
I think I have to say the first Blade Runner. It was just so inspiring. I absolutely fell in love with the photography of it, and that's why I ended up in a film school.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Nice.
Favorite editor besides yourself?
I think it's Dodi Dorn and Yorgos. Yeah.
A director you would love to work with next?
I am just gonna say I am so happy working with David Leitch. I might stick around until he kicks me out. Uh, But if he would, I would love to meet someone that is cooperative. You know what I mean? That
Awesome.
understands the process of making a movie. Yeah.
All right. And what do you have during your editing? Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Love.
All right. Final question. The one editing mistake you spot instantly in other people's work.
Closed eyes on a cut.
Closed eyes
Oh,
on a
really?
cut. Okay. Yeah,
Right.
I think even I've picked up those a few
Oh.
times. All right.
Yeah. Pretty
And I
cool.
think, and also it's a good thing to know if you want to avoid something like that, watch your movie in silence, no sound. Just watch it because if you always just watch it with sound and with music and with all the bells, you won't there are too many things distracting. So watch it in silence. I do it again and again and again.
Let's add another rapid fire question in this. I got something. So would you
Right.
prefer watching a movie with music or without music? The sound effects, dialogue, everything is epic. With music or without?
This is a trick question because when I'm working, I like to work in silence because I wanna find the rhythm of the scene within the scene itself. And then both sound and music are glazings, like decorations. But the scene works on its own. You know what I mean? But then for the movie, I mean, sound is just another layer to make it amazing. And
Of
then
course.
music is so tricky in editing because it's such a powerful instrument. You can put great music on shit and it's gonna be so good, you
Yeah.
know.
I
Because
think
All
the
right.
like the best example I remember from is Edgar Wright movies. Like for example, Baby Driver, the introduction comes with the music and it matches every single beat, every single word. And that editing to me was phenomenal. Like that was so well done. But yeah, I think like the it's very specific. It
yeah,
has to be very specific.
those guys are great. Yeah.
All
Definitely.
right. One last thing before we come to the conclusion is there any upcoming movies you'd want to give in a hint of or drop any clues before we call it a day?
Well, Nobody 2 is something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. Nobody 2 is coming out in I think it's in September. But we're done. We just finished and now we're prepping for How to Rob a Bank. I'm taking notes.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
The
How
second
to
one.
Rob a Bank.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We're actually binge watching Better Call Saul right now. You see like Bob
Oh, Better Call
Odenkirk.
Saul.
So after this, we're gonna go back to watching it. So we're gonna watch them, and then like nobody like. It's crazy to see him like fighting and punching and kicking people.
Yeah. He is
Insane.
Such a
he is
concept.
an amazing actor as well because he knows how to use his face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he does a really good job.
yeah, it's super.
Awesome. Well, Elizabeth, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Real honor. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to your upcoming movies.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. The honor was mine, and I wish you all the big counts soon.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Elizabeth.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care.
Take care. See
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.